the car that I think has the most investment potential or is the most overlooked car in the UK market today. And that is Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today you join me with my beautiful Ferrari F12 and we're going to be discussing 5 cars that I think still have the potential to increase in value despite the craziness we've seen in the market over the past 4, 5, 6 months. Now these are cars that I think lots of others still haven't really caught on to, so join me for 5 cars that I think represent incredible value still and the potential for investment gains. Now before we jump into those 5 cars, I want to call out some of the features that I've been thinking about or looking for that people might have been missing, or key attributes I think that really impact values and investment potential in the future. So we're seeing attention basically drawn to anything with a naturally aspirated engine, things with manual gearboxes, poster cars that were basically on bedroom walls of people who are now getting into money, so people in their 30s and 40s, and last of its kind cars. So if the car is a specific like last of a generation or last of a design, so for example the F12 was the last Pininfarina car, which we'll get onto. So the cars that I basically think fall into that bracket are those that still give you that really analog, visceral driving experience. Right, enough chat, let's jump into the cars. Right, and the first car on this list actually is relatively inexpensive compared to the others, and that is an Audi RS4 of the B7 generation. You can pick one of these up for between 15 and 25,000, depending on spec and mileage. The things you really want to be looking out for are the wingback seats and that it's had the suspension done at some point because it's pretty prone to fail. In terms of the investment cars, you probably want to look as original as possible, but that suspension is kind of a give or take. So the reason I think the B7 RS4 is a win is it's got a 4.2 litre naturally aspirated engine that Audi don't make anymore. It only came in a manual, tick. So it's obviously a high revving, naturally aspirated V8 with a manual gearbox in a saloon or Avant configuration. At over 8,000 RPM, just the engine characteristics itself make it super special. And adding manual transmission, quattro, V8 noises, then I think it's a win. I only see those going one way, and I'm personally on the hump one at the moment, actually, too. And the reason I think this still has the potential to go upwards massively is because it's at the affordable end of the spectrum. So this opens the market up to a lot more people than if you're looking at something like a supercar. And it feels relatively underappreciated compared to what it offers for the value it currently offers too. Now, second in the ranking is a 991.2 GT3. And here's where it gets pretty interesting. The 991.1 generation, so the previous mid-model generation to the 991.2, had quite a few engine troubles, and it's actually seen as a bit of the kind of ugly duckling in the 911 GT3 lineup. Whereas the 991.2, in my opinion, is almost like the perfect middle ground between the 992 speed and driving experience and tech and the analog feeling. And the thing is with the 991.2 is you can get it in a manual too, whereas you couldn't get the 991.1. So in my opinion, I think this is the prettiest generation of 911, the 991 generation, far prettier than the new 992. And it has the 4 litre naturally aspirated flat 6 that revs up to 9,000 RPM, which is, yeah, you have to hear it to really understand what that feeling is and how much value you can put on that engine. It's an incredible engine. Now the market's actually really dried up for the 991.2 generation in terms of not many being available at all over the past kind of year or so. So a year ago, there were maybe like 20, 25 cars on the market in the UK. And now we're probably down to, I'd say, a handful, 5 or 10 cars available, and very few with good options. So ceramics, club sport, all of that, all the key stuff that I think you'd want in an investment car. They actually dipped to around 110, 115 grand, maybe last year, and they're starting to pick up again as people realize that these cars are the best 911 experience you can get. I think the 991.2 generation GT3 is a very, very good buy at current prices. Can you guess the third car on my list? It's the F12, and I put my money where my mouth is, and get ready for me to pump my own bags, I'm sorry. But I think the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta has been massively overlooked for the past 3 years. This was also my dream car, and the reason I bought it a couple of months ago is because I didn't want to be priced out of these because they've started to go, and I really only see them going one way. Whenever people are talking about investment Ferraris, the F12 seems to just be completely left out of those conversations, and I have no understanding of why. Not many people know that this is the last Pininfarina designed mass production Ferrari. People think it's the 458, and it's not. It's the F12 Berlinetta. So when I'm talking about kind of the model being last of something, this is the last Pininfarina designed Ferrari, which is, I think, big. And as you see, TDFs now, F12 TDFs, have started to go absolutely bonkers. They're at kind of 1.5 million. And I don't really see that cooling off much because they're so limited in special edition cars. But there are only 390 of these in the UK, which is actually kind of similar to 458 Speciale numbers. And I think they've just been completely overlooked. So I know I'm biased here. These are still tracking around 200 grand, and I don't think they're going to be there very long. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these for 300, 350 grand in the next couple of years, as people realised how significant this car is. V12, naturally aspirated, 8,500 RPM revving, Ferrari Enzo and LaFerrari engine. It's Ferrari's V12 that has been in all of those cars, but you can buy it for under 200 grand. It's basically a car built around this engine, so incredible car. The Ferrari F12 is the third car on the list. Right, now we're getting into the really spicy stuff, the last two cars. This first one, I think, has been massively overlooked, and that is the Aston Martin, that's a shock in itself, Vantage GT8. This car was only produced 150 times. There's only 150 of them worldwide. It's a manual, it's a 4.7 litre naturally aspirated V8. It sounds absolutely incredible. If you've ever heard one on the road or been behind one or seen one at a car meet or something, they sound unbelievable. Possibly one of the best sounding cars of that generation. It was inspired by the racing program. It has you can get it with a manual gearbox, so it ticks all the boxes. There've been a kind of trickle of these on the market over the past couple of years, kind of 3, 4, 5 at a time. I actually haven't checked it in the past couple of weeks, but I think that's dropped right down now and we're starting to see them go. I wouldn't be surprised if in 5, 10 years, this is a 300, 400 grand car. Compared to what else is out there, I think it is incredible value for money for what it is. Not the fastest thing in the world. I think it's around 4.5 seconds to 60, 4 seconds to 60, but it's not about the speed. It's about the driving experience, the visceral nature of it with the manual gearbox and the sound of that engine. GT8 Vantage win. Right, and we're at the #1 spot. The car that I think has the most investment potential or is the most overlooked car in the UK market today. And that is, it's another Porsche, it's another 991 generation Porsche, and it is the 991 Speedster. Now we've seen the GT2 RS go ballistic over the past 8 weeks. I think they're now going for 500 grand, 550 grand. The 991 Speedster still seems to be tracking around 250, 300. This was the last of the 991 generation of cars. It's that 991 generation which is super, super pretty, the prettiest, I think, by a long way, and it was a limited production car. All of the GT3s, GT2 RSs, they were kind of mass produced. They weren't limited numbers. But the Speedster, there are only 1,948 units of Speedsters to align to the year that Porsche started mass producing cars. It's a limited production car, and it's the final 991 generation car. I think if you're in the market today and you've got a budget of 250 to 300, maybe 350,000 pounds if you want the heritage pack, 991 Speedster is a win. So there it was. 5 cars that I think have great investment potential and should keep your eye on if you're in the market for something special. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is there anything I've missed? Other cars that have the potential that people are just completely ignoring, or the attention hasn't shifted to them yet? I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.